What am I going to do this morning?
Howdy folks, it's Nito with AP2020 Outdoors. Welcome to the AP2020 Outdoors Outdoor Shooting Range. Yes sirree, this is my private shooting range. You can't get any more remote than this. I don't think there's any humans for several miles. Howdy folks, it's Nito with AP2020 Outdoors Podcast. I got a special guest today, Mark Allen with thermalhunting.com and Warrior Tripods. This is season 1, episode 8. Mark, how you doing this morning?
What's going on, Mr. Nito?
Hey, pretty awesome. You're down in Alabama, right? Whereabouts?
We're just north of Birmingham, about 20 minutes or so. So about the middle.
All right. Yeah, I checked the weather, man. You are getting a big storm down there, aren't you?
We're about ready to float away here in just a minute. I think they're saying 7 inches of rain this week.
Well, hopefully your internet stays up, you know.
Yeah, we'll hope for the best here. We got that fancy Starlink internet because there's no cable lines around here, so that's what we're rolling off of.
Oh, you got Starlink? That's better than what I got. I got like Spectrum, man.
Well, you know what? It works awesome, but as soon as it rains or storms, you're done. So
oh, really?
That's when break time comes, is whenever it rains and storms.
All right. So, anyways, real quick, folks. So I was telling Mark, I've been into the night hunting game for a while. I mean, I started probably back in 2015, and coincidentally, my YouTube channel started back in 2011. And from 2011 to 2015, I think I had maybe 1,000 subscribers at the most. And it was actually the night hunting game that really grew my channel. And just real quickly on Facebook, I was posting stuff on there, and some gal by name of Nancy Adams, she's a writer for like Women's Outdoor Magazine, and she's actually down in Alabama. And she reached out to me, and she was like, "Hey Nito, you ever hog hunted?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "You want to go?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I want to go." You know, and of course, you know, I live in Ohio. You know, the only hogs we got are usually in farms or the groundhog variety that I shoot with my high-powered rifles. But I never imagined hunting feral hogs, you know. And so anyways, one thing led to another, and it got about go time. And I was asking Nancy, I said, "All right, Nancy, what hotel am I going to stay at? What flights do I have to book? You know, how much is all this going to cost?" And she was like, in her Alabama accent, she's like, "Well, Nito, you don't have to worry about any of that. Just get your butt down here and we'll fix you right up." And I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, don't you all worry about that." So then that's when I realized that somebody actually was valuing what I was doing. You know, I was like, up to that point, you know, it was pretty much, I was on my own, you know, just trying to post videos on YouTube. And that's when I realized that what I was doing, you know, was helping, quote, and back then there was no such thing as a influencer. You know, you were just doing reviews on YouTube or whatever. So long story getting short, so I ended up going down to Alabama 3 times that summer and hog hunted. I got a couple buddies down there, Alabama Hog Control, and then and back then, once I got into that, I actually reached out to Pulsar. Okay, Mark, and back then Pulsar, it was primarily, you know, was it James Sellers?
Yeah,
right. He's the owner of Cellmark. And of course, he's got Pulsar and Sightmark. Well, back then there was nobody was doing any marketing for anybody, right? And I cold called Cellmark, and I talked to this gal. She doesn't work with them anymore, and literally she was sending me thermals and night vision to do videos on, you know, and there was no contracts, nothing written, you know, it was just on the honor system, and I was pumping out, you know, coyote hunting videos. And like I said, the only people on YouTube was like, you ever heard of Jagger Pro?
Yes, I have. Yep.
They're out of Georgia. They are one of the first ones. And then myself and a couple, just a handful of people, and nobody was doing it. And it's just incredible how big the industry has grown in, you know, nearly 10 years. And so, you know, I figured I'd tell you that, you know, a little background on how I got started. And it like I said, it's just crazy how much the night vision and thermal industry has grown. And, you know, I was going to ask you, Mark, how did you luck into having thermalhunting.com as the name of your website? You figure that would have been taken by now.
Yeah,
You know?
you definitely would. Yeah. So so back in about 2000, I guess 2010 is whenever I graduated from college and got out of college and got into coyote hunting real fast and learned about the thermal world. First starting off with night vision, man, that day I got that Eps8, that was the best day ever. That
Oh,
18 Eps8, I
yeah.
thought I was the king of the world. And but I quickly learned that I wanted to thermal hunt. But then I quickly learned that I couldn't afford to thermal hunt. I was sitting with massive student loan debt, and so that's kind of how I got into the thermal hunting. I wanted to do it, I couldn't afford to do it, so I said, okay, well, let's start selling some scopes to see if we can try to make ends meet to be able to get what I want. So I traded the Eps8 for something else. I got something else traded for something else. Next thing you know, I meet up with online. In the midst of selling this stuff, I meet up with my partner Matt, who owns thermalhunting.com with me, and we were sitting there trying to decide on business names, and we actually kind of got frustrated because we couldn't come out with what we thought was a cool name. And we said, well, let's just do thermalhunting.com for now, and then we can change it some other time. But little did we know, whenever we bought that domain, which I guess would have been like maybe 7 or 8 years ago, we literally know what we were buying and what it was gonna become today. And so that was kind of our story into the domain, the coyote hunt and night hunting world. I started getting really big into that whenever we started having kids back in 2016. I learned real fast that having kids and going out and sitting in a deer stand all day long was not very fair to your kids or your
Right.
lovely wife at home. So I said,
Yeah.
so I started hunting coyotes at night, and I learned real fast that, like, hey, I can put everyone to bed. I can go out, torture myself all night long, enjoy doing what I'm doing, struggle at work the next day and be tired,
Right.
but everyone was happy and I wasn't missing out any time with my family. So that's kind of how I got into the thermal hunting world. Used to live in Northern Illinois. 2 years ago, I moved down to Alabama. So I got that Yankee twang, as many of them tell me around here, that I get called out instantly on that. But
Have you
that's kind of
have you
that's
learned
kind of my
all
story.
y'all? Have you learned y'all and all y'alls?
Well, it's just kind of weird for me to say it because I'll say y'all, and
Because they don't say you guys. Like they'll look when
Yeah.
you go you guys, they'll look at you like, what the you guys?
Yeah.
Who are
Yeah.
you guys?
Oh, they look at me funny. Yeah. And there's a bunch of them. I call roofs, and they call them I can't remember what they call them.
Yeah, they don't call them roofs.
I call them acorns. They call them acorns.
Acorns.
There's a lever action. It's a lever action.
Yeah, lever action.
But they all mess with me, but they welcomed me though with warm arms, which was cool,
So I don't know if you know this. So y'all, somebody told me, so y'all means like 1 or 2 people, right? But I think if it's, and you can ask Tony this later on, but I think if it's more than 3 people, you say all y'alls.
Well,
we will all y'alls. If it's greater than 3 or 5, I forget what it is. So
we will
I
definitely get Tony's. We'll get Tony's insight on that. We'll get our southern twang figured out.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I miss. Like you and I are both northern boys. I'm in Ohio, you're in Illinois. We're about the same latitude. Man, I miss hunting them hogs down in Georgia, though. That was my first time I did that. It was like, I just cannot believe it. I mean, like, you and I grew up hunting deer, right? And the biggest deer we could shoot was maybe, like this buck was a 265-pound buck field dress, but, I never shot anything bigger than that, and
right.
And we're out here just laying waste to hogs. There's no limit, right? And it's crazy. I mean, I ended up going, like I said, I went to Alabama 3 times that summer. And then the following year, I had a buddy in north of Corpus Christi, Texas. And I hunted down there in Texas as well. So,
yeah, I'll go hog hunt. And so whenever I started hog hunting first, we went to Texas.
Right.
And where we go, we kill anywhere from 200 to 300 in
That's crazy.
3-day span. So actually, whenever I moved here a couple of years ago, they said, we're going hog hunt tonight, and you would hunt all night long and kill 2 or 3. So
Right.
it wasn't very exciting for me. And then I learned quickly that the coyote hunt, and the coyote population is dense in Alabama, but there's so much woods that they have places to go and hide. And around here, really, if you kill 4 or 5 coyotes in a night, you had a pretty good night. Now I know there's nights where guys are killing way more than that, but up north where I used to hunt, 7 to 10 coyotes a night was pretty normal and a pretty standard night in bed by March in the morning.
Right.
So the hunting here is definitely, it's a learning curve. I'm definitely still learning it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, up in Ohio, it's even, at least where I hunt at, there aren't as many coyotes because there's a lot more guys hunting now.
Yeah.
Like I said, for literally 2 years, I was the only one doing it where I lived at, literally, you know.
Yeah.
And
And
just now there's just, so our coyotes are just so educated now. The ones you don't kill, have heard that sound or whatever, and they won't
yeah.
come in, you know.
And that
So,
you guys had that big tournament up in Ohio. I think it was in Ohio, the Jurassic tournament they had.
yeah.
They had something crazy amount of teams. So I was talking to the one of the gentlemen that helps run that, Matt Burdett, and he was telling me all about that. And it's actually kind of crazy, like how many people there actually are hunting out there. And I'm seeing these orders go out the door, and you would be shocked how much. I mean, you wouldn't like to know how much stuff we're shipping to Ohio. I mean, it's crazy. So it's definitely booming around there. And I think when they have events like that, it gets everyone excited. They see all those dead coyotes, and
Right.
but it's really is crazy. I mean, we every day we get somebody in our store that's a new thermal hunter, and you say, well, where are you from? And they say, oh, I just live 20 minutes west of here. And I say, well, I live 20 minutes west of here. Where are you
Oh,
hunting
really?
at? Yeah, it's crazy, but we of course, we help everyone out. We fit people with right, what the right equipment that's a good fit for them and a good fit for the area. So, but it is crazy how fast it's booming. It really honestly is.
So what's your so let's just talk a little bit, dive a little bit into your product line. So
Yeah.
who do you carry on the thermal end?
Yeah, so right now we're carrying Pulsar, AGM, Rick's Optics, iRay. I'm not sure if I said iRay, Envision Optics. That's our main ones right now. I hope I'm not forgetting one. I'm not sure if I said AGM. If I didn't, AGM. Right now, our best-selling scopes. Without getting into every single product line, mid-range scopes, the entry-level customer, we're selling a ton of the Rick's Optics is booming. We're selling a ton of Rick's Optics, and AGM has always been a kind of entry-level staple scope, and even their 640s are really, really nice. Mid to high range, everyone seems to be buying Pulsars or slipping into iRay. And then Envision, is Envision is still kind of sitting up at the top as far as image quality goes.
Right. I kind of I still hunt with the compound bow, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if did you grow up hunting with a compound bow too?
You may have a hard time believing this, but I have never went bow hunting. I've been
Really?
Yeah, I was
In
always
Illinois of all places too.
well, and that was the thing. So people asked me when they moved here, they're like, man, like, gosh, you lived in Illinois, you could kill all these big deer you want. But it was kind of like one of those things for me that our family had so much land that, I mean, I could have went out and killed a monster deer every single year, but it was like one of those things. I had it and it was there. And like, I guess I didn't really realize it. And now that I'm here,
Oh, right.
people are like begging me. They say, hey, let's go to Illinois. So I wasn't really in a deer hunt. I'd take my shotgun out every year. We had those 2 seasons. I'd shoot one for meat, and then that would be it. And then since I've moved here, the only time I went hunting is to take my kids hunting. My oldest boy, I guess he'd have been 6 at the time. He shot a doe, and then this year my middle child, he's 5. He shot a doe this year. But that's the only times I went deer hunting this year.
So what I was going to bring up is that, like, if you know anything about the bow hunters, right? Like the compound bow hunters, you'll get a select few that have to have the latest and greatest bow every year, right? So they'll go out and spend $1,000, $1,200 on a brand new bow, and then the next year they'll flip it, probably sell it for half price, kind of like what you're doing with scopes, right?
Sure.
To to attain the latest and greatest new bow, whether it's a Hoyt, Matthews, PSE or whatever. So I was going to ask you this, like, because I tested the Ricks, the L6 is a 640, right?
That's right. Yep.
I tested that scope directly from Rick's Optics. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you like to do some videos on it?" I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I tested it. So it's a decent thermal. It's a decent, and what I think an entry level thermal to get somebody into the game. How are you guys, to bring back the compound bow analogy? Now you're not looking at $1,000 compound bow. You're looking at a $3, $4, $5,000 thermal. To get started, right?
Right.
So then how do you keep that? I've always wondered this, how do you keep that sustainable, right? Because you always have to, it's not like, you just can't sell a thermal to a person and then hopefully never hear, you never want to not hear from them again.
Right.
And that's a big challenge in my estimation.
It really honestly is. And so there's two approaches to this. And this is what I tell customers. I say, because people are always worried about that. Hey, especially with suppressors, like, man, I'm going to buy this suppressor and 6 months later, something new is going to come out. Well, that is going to happen. Like, don't think it's not going to happen. And when you buy a thermal, if you buy one today, I guarantee you within a year, it's being replaced by something else.
Right.
So this is what I tell guys. Most of these thermals now have 5-year warranties. So you either buy one and you roll with it and you never replace it. But if you're the type of person that wants to have the latest and the greatest and the new thing, you honestly need to be swapping out your scope every year. And that's not a sales pitch, although it may sound like one. It really honestly isn't, because what I have happened just today, I got a guy coming in that's got an original Trail XP50 LRF. An excellent scope. We couldn't get him fast enough. What was it, 3 years ago when that came out?
Right.
And he's wanting to trade it in now today. And it's like, well, gosh, since then, the Trail 2 XP50s come out, the Trail 2 XP50 Pros come out. It's like, whenever you get 2 or 3 years behind, all of a sudden what you have isn't going to be worth as much. So if you're the type of person that needs the newest, latest, and greatest, then I would recommend rotating your stuff out. And usually a good time to do that is, September, October, because you have all these seasons fixing to open up. And what always happens, come November, December, and January, you have SHOT Show. And you best believe that those companies are going to be releasing something 1 to 2, maybe 3 months before SHOT Show.
Right. So do you guys offer, and I'm just going to ask some questions that I'm ignorant of. So that's why I'm going to ask questions. So do you guys offer, do you almost treat it like cars or trucks now at this point where you get trade-ins?
We're super transparent on trade-ins. Okay. If I take a scope in on trade-in, and let's say I give you $3,000 trade-in value, I think I'm going to be able to sell that for $3,300.
Yeah, you got to cover your utilities and taxes at the minimum.
Yes. So we
and salaries.
We attempt to, whenever we take trade-ins, we give you 10% less than what we think we're going to sell it for. You're going to give 3% to the credit card processor. You're going to pay for shipping. At the end of the day, that's what we typically do on trade-ins. Now, there's some scopes that we may just flat say no to, because everyone wants the newest, latest, and greatest. They don't want the one that's 3 models ago.
Right.
And you got to remember now, Pulsar now has this 5-year warranty.
Yeah, I'd seen that.
That's gonna really change things up a little on the used scope market. But but the long story short is, if you think you're one that wants to continually have the newest, latest, and greatest, that's fine. But you got to stay up with it, because as soon as you get 2 or 3 models back, your value depreciates so fast on these things. And I hate to say it, Nito, but these scope manufacturers, they're not helping things. They're coming out with 2 or 3, 4 models new every 3 or 4 months, it seems.
Oh yeah, I know. They're not waiting for SHOT Show.
Yeah, they don't even give, in my opinion, they don't even give some of their models that are a good model a chance to really grip and go before they're already replacing it. So
that's good. I don't know if would you guys say that you're unique in that? Because I've looked at other thermal dealers out there, and I don't know. In my mind, that'd be the way to go to keep your customers. Because a guy that's going to try to sell their scope private sale, whether they sell it on the internet, quote Facebook or wherever, is going to have a hard time. Well, number one, the person buying it there's got to be a certain trust factor there, right?
Sure.
And there may not be that trust factor. I mean, I know I would be hesitant of buying a used thermal off the internet if I didn't know the person, So that's something you guys offer that I don't know if a lot of people are doing that or not. I mean, that's a great thing actually, if you think about it. Because
Yeah.
these are not, they're not $500 or $1,000 bows.
No.
They're worth
No.
a lot more, even used.
And we get some local customers, if they have something that is still desirable, like last year's model scope or something like that, we're more than happy to take it in. Now, if you say, hey, listen, I got this ATN Thor 4 that I got for Christmas 4 years ago, I mean, we're
Right.
not going to take it in on trade. And I know there's probably some companies that will, but we try to only take things on trade that are still pretty relevant. And and typically what people want to trade in, they say, oh, will you take this Thermion because the Thermion Pro just came out? We get some of that too. And so we have to base our prices accordingly to what we think the market's going to do. And after being in the industry for this many years, we got a pretty good handle on that as to where it's going to go.
That's awesome. That is pretty awesome because, like I said, I honestly I've got a 2016 Trail XP38.
Yeah.
I use that as a hand scanner now.
Hey, I use it.
Still works. I mean, the screen, you get the what are they called? The dead pixels.
Yeah.
I've got like 8 dead pixels, but I'm used to that. It's like, so it's still running.
I tell you what, there's going to be someone listening to this that's going to agree with me that they wish the Apex series of Pulsar never disappeared. I mean, that was an awesome scope. The button layout was awesome.
Oh yeah,
it looked
this.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I can't that big wheel on the side. I can't believe they ever got away with that. But it is what it is. Technology advances. And this seems like the tube style scopes are where technology is going now, what people seem to like.
But you're limited. You're limited with a 30 millimeter main tube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thermals. That's why you bring up a good point. That's why the Trail was such a revolutionary, because sure, it may be shaped like a box, right, cross section, but like you said, even the XP50 was even better.
Yeah. Oh, that Trail XP50, I mean, that was one of the best selling scopes we ever had. And I thought the XP38 hand scanners, I thought that was the best scanner in the market. Wide field of view, 640, and just everyone always thought they had to have that 50. It was just in their head that I got to have the 50, I got to have the biggest, and we were actually, for a while there, we ran out of them, but we had some of those 38 millimeter lenses, and we were strapping those on the Helion Pros. And I tell you what,
were you?
Talk about a good little unit right there, but you can't get those lenses anymore.
Hey, I just top of my head, so Pulsar's got the 5-year warranty. Is it transferable, or is it the first owner?
That is a good question.
You should find that out.
Yeah, I know that you have to register to get it, and I don't want to go on record on this, but I'm pretty sure that it is not transferable.
Okay.
But I need to check the literature on that one. But they do have the option though for 5. That's something for people to think about too,
right.
Whenever they're buying used scopes. I mean, by buying new, you're buying a 5-year warranty now. But I'm almost positive. I'll look it up, Needle. But I'm almost positive that is not transferable. But
just original owner.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about. So I tested. You sent me out the Thermion 2 1024 HD. I forget all the. It's an LRF. It's like.
Yeah.
What is it again? It's a Thermion 2 XP.
That's a Thermion 2 XL50.
XL50. That's right. LRF. Right.
Yeah.
1024 HD. Man, I was like, dude, this is like phenomenal. But it's pretty funny. Just imagine you and I talking 5 years from now, and we'll laugh about that when they have a 4K thermal. Did you imagine a 4K thermal?
640 will be eventually someday it's gonna be like, oh, that's a 640,
Right.
I think it'll continue to go up, and they're trying. I mean, they're coming out with new stuff. It's not, I feel like technology still is there's still time for technology to catch up with itself though, because even like that 1024, when you look through it, it's nice, it's crystal clear, but I mean, it's not leaps and bounds better than the XP50 in my opinion. I don't know what your
Because
thoughts
of the
were.
base mag.
We took it out hunting. We had a tournament the other night, and I took it out and I tried it, and it's a great scope. I'm not saying one thing bad about it,
Right.
but in my personal opinion, if you're going to make a 1024 resolution scope, you're kind of you should be gearing, in my opinion, towards that person taking the long range hunting shots. And right now, high resolution scope, I'm liking that hybrid 75 better for taking long range shots than that XL. But if you're a pig hunter, which, where's Pulsar out of? Mansfield, Texas.
Right.
I mean, that could be a pig hunter's dream right there. I mean, you have a 1.75 base mag with the best resolution that Pulsar offers, but I can't say that's a coyote hunter's scope. I just can't say that.
Right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? You had the chance to run it for a while there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't take, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've taken a number of coyotes over the years, and I'll bet you 80% have been shot under 100 yards. I think the longest kill I ever had was with that Leap L6. That was like 230 yards, I think.
Sure.
And that was a long poke for me. I guess I'm like a turkey hunter or whatever. I like to call them in close just to watch them come in.
Yeah. So you probably like that XL then.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, up close, it was like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But like you said, could you imagine if they came out with a XL50 or XP50 form factor size in a 1024?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In my opinion, too, those XP50s, I mean, it would be nice. Well, let's look here. Right now, our best-selling Pulsar scope is the Thermion 2 XQ50 LRF Pro, and I think a lot of it boils down to the base mag. I really do, and I could be wrong. It could be budget and base mag, but
right.
Gosh, if somebody could come out with a 1024 scope, and maybe they have, maybe we're talking about the hybrid 75 from IRA. I think it's a 4X or 3.5X. It's up there. It's you better shoot them. You better shoot them at 200 yards, because if they get inside of that, you may not find them in that scope. But
right, especially at night.
Yeah, because that's where as a thermal business owner, that's where we see things going. We have a bunch of customers coming in at that entry level mark, that $2,000, $3,000, get me out in the field hunting. But then you have all these people that have been doing it for some time. They're like, hey, I want to shoot coyotes at 500, 600, 700 yards. So you start to get this talk about clip-ons, and that seems like it's becoming a little bit more relevant lately. Being able to dial a scope, scopes with ballistic rangefinders. I think that's where the thermal industry goes in the future. I think the bells and whistles increase.
Right.
But I guess time will tell on that.
Oh yeah. Like you said, it's compared to other industries, it's still, it's not an infancy form anymore. It's starting to mature a little bit, but not like other gun industries. So let me ask you this: what determines whose thermals you carry? I mean, obviously you guys make that decision. I mean, because like you look at other places, and they've got like everybody. Is it a matter of just size or?
We're a small niche shop here in Birmingham, so we have a very, our shop is maybe 1,500 2,000 square foot. It's not very big. And how we sell scopes is we sell customer service, and we sell the customer service beyond the purchase of your scope. So every single scope I sell in here, I give them my business card. I say, if you need any help, call me. If you need help, let me know. So I'm going to sell the scope that I think is most reliable, the ones where we're going to have the least amount of problems with. But then if we do have problems, I want to make sure I can get a hold of them. And I tell you what, that's how we sold a lot of InVision scopes. People will say, well, how's their customer service? And I'll pick up my phone and I'll dial Chris from InVision, and he'll answer and say, hey, what's up, Mark? And about in that tone, he'll let me know how I did, Chris. But he'll answer the phone, and the customer's just, it's like, wow, that's cool. People don't want to call and have to press 50 different buttons to maybe talk to somebody, or get away from the AI auto attendant.
Right.
So that's how we pick and choose. That's how we pick and choose what we decide to sell. And of course, we have to sell what's relevant on the market. But you know what? If you followed us at all, we don't carry every single one. There's some companies that we didn't pick up. But yeah, customer service is huge. It has to be huge for us to continue to grow. They have to provide good customer service.
All right, so we're gonna segue to a different topic. You know who the first relevant thermal drone person was? Is that ex-Amish kid up in Ohio?
Yeah,
Drone deer recovery.
Yeah, yep. I think he was. I think he was kind of the one to kind of get Facebook famous, I guess, per se.
Yeah, and also YouTube. But it's funny. He's an ex-Amish. I didn't know if you knew that. He was an Amish kid.
I did. I did. I was actually talking to. We actually sold some thermal drones to a company that's going to be one of his competitors in Ohio.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I kind of heard the backstory about him a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm ignorant of thermal drones, but that's pretty cool that you guys are getting into that. So kind of educate me and some of my subscribers and new people watching this. Let's say I wanted to get into a thermal drone, I'm totally ignorant. What do I need to know?
Sure. So one thing I'm going to tell you about thermal drones is we actually have a gentleman by the name of Justin Coleman who is on staff with us.
Okay.
Justin knows everything about all the products we sell, but he knows a lot about thermal drones. He can tell you everything that you need to know. You could call him up and say, hey, I'm getting this error on the screen. And without looking at the unit, he's going to say, well, press this button, that button, the other button. So we have somebody on staff to actually specifically sell thermal drones and answer any questions that you have. Right now, our two best-selling drones are the Mavic 3T and the Matrice 30T. The gentleman that you're talking about, I believe he's running the 30T. This year, just kind of monkeying around, helping people find down deer, just kind of as just something kind to do, I guess. I ran the Mavic 3T. Those are $5,500, and that's right now. That's our best seller on the drones.
Okay, so they're not. I'm kind of surprised. I figured they'd be like $10,000-$12,000.
Yeah, and they've come down a lot.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah.
And so how, like I have a drone myself, but I'm not the best flyer at all. How user friendly are they? I mean, do they have all the bells and whistles like collision avoidance and all that?
Yeah, they do. I think it's just like anything. Flying it is actually probably the easy part. Learning to read the screen, know where you're at, fly off the actual screen versus actually seeing it, because 9 times out of 10 you're never going to see the drone after you take off and leave.
Right.
So I think
especially at night.
Absolutely. And the biggest learning curve, I think, is just learning the remote, learning the bells and whistles of the remote, learning how to operate without seeing it, at nighttime. But of course, just like anything, anything that we sell, we always help people out with that. And guys that come to our shop shopping for thermal drones, we'll get it all set up. We'll take it out in the parking lot and we'll teach them how to fly it. And it's so simple. It really honestly is.
That's cool. So I guess the next topic on thermal drones. So what do you think about like states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, like their game commissions, their Department of Natural, they're dead set against. Have you seen any pushback from like even Alabama or down different states that you know of?
So Alabama has laws that I think are pretty good. I mean, basically in Alabama, you can find a dead deer and you can tell your customer where it's at. That's basically what you can tell them. But if it's not dead, you can't tell them where it's at. If it's injured, you can't tell where it's at. If you find a deer that they didn't know was there, you can't tell them where it's at. So I feel like Alabama's pretty good, but I can honestly tell you, having used a drone quite a bit, just seeing what I've seen through it, I mean, it is such a useful tool. I mean, it's crazy. So with that being said, I could see states starting to crack down on it more, because I mean, you can fly a property and see where every single deer is and use that information, if legal, to helping your hunt. And
Right.
I can see pushback there eventually. The coyotes, the pigs, they want those gone. So I don't think you're going to get any pushback on the thermal industry. It actually seems to be going the other way. More states are allowing it every day versus, one's taking it away.
Right. I mean, because when I heard about that, I immediately thought about, when I started coyote hunting 10 years ago at the thermal, I mean, I saw deer at night, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, you know, who's to stop somebody? But
Yeah.
fortunately, there's not been a lot of, I think we police ourselves, and because
Sure.
it could be easily done. I mean, think about it. But there's really been not a. I don't think it's an issue at all.
Yeah. And I think that somebody that's going to break the law is going to always break the law. I
Yeah,
mean,
they're not gonna. Right.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that, laws just punish law abiding citizens.
Right.
Because I would never even consider shooting a deer at night. That gives me no satisfaction, no
No.
nothing.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's definitely going to be people that ruin it for the law abiding citizens. But it's definitely interesting. Getting back to the main topic, it's interesting seeing where technology is going. It's interesting to see what's happening. With technology and helping our hunt, and it's making it more fun. I mean, I think it's making more hunting a little bit more enjoyable, if you ask me.
Well, you brought up a good point. It was like, when I was really into, I mean, I don't know how much, thermal hunting you had done in the past, but dude, I did it for like 3 years straight. And I just worked my day job. I just worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I had Monday to Thursday off. And dude, I was hunting every night. I was hunting 3 nights a week for 3 years.
Mhm.
And what that's about. It's like,
Oh yeah,
it's like getting in at 2, 3 in the morning, and then just having to get up. It's like, dude, man, it's like a grind. I mean, it's like working a third shift job.
it was, and I
I
was
mean,
ready.
I burned myself out. I'll be honest with you. I was
I
like,
used to,
man, I can't sustain this.
I used to save up my vacation time every year.
Oh, just to go.
And as soon as deer season and coyote seasons, actually in Illinois opened at about the same time for a shotgun, and
Right.
I'd take 2 or 3 weeks off and go coyote hunting. But you can get burned out extremely fast,
Oh yeah.
and I don't hunt nearly as much as I do. I kind of find myself anymore just kind of going coyote hunting on if a customer gets a new scope, wants to go out, or we make a couple trips out west every year hunting. That's where I find myself doing it more. As the kids get older and start to have stuff that they're doing after school, it makes it a little bit tougher. But
Right.
fortunately, both my kids are pretty interested in it. So
That's
as
cool.
as they get a little bit older, we'll get them out there a little bit more.
Awesome. So you got anything else on the thermal side you want to talk about, or you think we've pretty much covered all the bases?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just one thing I want to touch base on, because we're probably going to have people are listening to this are probably going to be getting into coyote hunting or trying to they're trying to learn about coyote hunting. And if I could maybe give any advice to anyone, when it comes to your setup, when it comes to your tripod, when it comes to your gun, when it comes to your scope, if you're able to buy once and cry once, I always recommend doing that. We see a lot of people that buy an entry level thermal and then 3 weeks later they're wanting to upgrade. We don't want to make money off of you trading that back in, but as a business, we have to do what's right for the business. But if you can afford to go with a 640, go with the 640. If you can afford to get a nice tripod over a bog pod, do it. That's kind of my advice to that new hunter. And always talk to a reputable dealer, somebody that's been in the industry for a while. There's a lot of new dealers popping up selling thermals, and that's awesome. That's great. But you also have to remember too that they don't have the experience as our company and many other companies have. So make sure you're talking to a good reputable dealer. We've heard we've heard horror stories about people ordering scopes and never getting them with some of these new pop-up companies, people selling stuff out of their garage. So do your research. Of course, if we can ever help you out with anything here at thermalhunting.com, reach out to us. I get phone calls every day. We talk to all of our own customers. We don't have some auto attendant answering phone calls, or it's us. You call, you talk to me.
Awesome. So let's segue to Warrior tripods. That's the other part of your business model there. Tell me
Yeah,
a little bit about. I've got the Commander, and
that's
I've
right.
got the leveling, the Chief, the leveling head, and the ball. I gotta talk to you off camera about that ball mount because I must be missing a piece. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I haven't been able to put it on, but we'll talk off camera about that. But let's talk a little bit about Warrior tripods.
Sure. So,
Number one, where did the name come from?
so we're a very tight knit like community around here. So we have a group called Alabama Coyote Hunters, and we're all friends. We're encouraging. There's never any. It's all positive. We don't. If you bring negativity to the group, you are no longer in the group.
Okay.
And so about give the exact time frame. About 3 years ago, Matt and I decided that we were bringing customers into the shop selling them Envision XRFs, and we were selling them bog pods, and it just made no sense. So we tried to work with some of the manufacturers that were already making tripods on the market. Kind of told them what we were looking for, seeing if they would kind of customize their tripod to our needs, and they didn't want to. And that makes sense. You know, you can't, as a business, it's hard to do that. So we decided to start our own company, which was Warrior Tripods, named by somebody in our Coyote Hunter group. We said, "Hey guys, what should we name our company?" And one of our members picked the name of it. So we spent about a year designing the tripod. What would happen is they would send us the head part, and then they would send us the legs. And then we would take the two of those, we would actually assemble them here, and we'd go out and test it. We'd let it right around the back of our truck. We learned a lot that way. About a year later, we finally agreed on a design. And then I guess it was maybe another 6 months after that, we finally got our first tripod, started selling them back in March of 2022. Started out with a 3-section tripod called the Warrior. We now have a 2-section tripod called the Commander. We have a little small guy called the Scout. And then we have our accessories. We have our leveling head. We have our WT65, which we're transparent about. That's a rebranded product. So we're trying to cover the basis on it, but we are Coyote Hunters, and we designed this tripod. And I think that's what's most important. Getting back to what I talked about with the thermals, I bought the bog pod. I bought the Slick 700 DX. I bought the Integral RTC. There's good tripods out in the market, but there was little things I didn't like about all of them. We fixed all that. We brought a tripod to the market.
I've got a Slick. That thing is just a 12-pound beast, man.
It is.
That thing is just like, it's like, man, I got a 12-pound AR I'm humping. I got a 12-pound tripod. Something is wrong here.
Yeah. And I actually have it since turkey season's coming. We may have some turkey hunters. So I don't know if you've seen yet, but we did just launch our new clamp.
Yeah, I'd seen that. I don't know if it was Instagram or Facebook. I'd seen that. That's pretty
cool.
sweet. So explain that. That's cool.
Yeah. So this was the issue, and I don't have a leveling head here right now. But the issue with other clamps and leveling heads is the two knobs would hit each other, and you can see here, if you were to have that on there, those two knobs would hit each other. So what we did is we put a 4-way arca plate on this one, and so you can turn it
on 90 degrees,
and the knobs won't hit. So just little stuff like that we thought of. And I tell you what, Nito, I don't know if you do any turkey hunting, but
I do.
This dude right here attached onto the bottom of a shotgun, and then slide it up in this way so it lays flat.
Oh, it's just like a shotgun mounted bipod.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah,
it
almost reminds me. We back in the day, I used to run those swaggers. That's why I started off with. But it's almost like a swagger, but with an actual
3 legs.
Yeah.
What's that weigh?
The tripod's 2 pounds, and this is 2, so you're about 4 pounds combined here.
And what's the is that a 2 or 3 section?
This is just a little 3-section tripod, 15 inches for each section.
Does that have the go up to your top? Oh, it does have it does have those clips to where you can pull them out where it can lay out really short.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So you can go prone if you'd like.
All right.
So
what's that cost?
The tripod is $150, and then the head is $189.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
So we just launched that. Pretty excited about that for turkey season. Just waiting on the shipment on that. But that's our newest guy we got out, and we're working on some other stuff too. We
go back to the grip again, because it looked like it was sectioned on one side. It said, oh, okay, so that's so ease of use to get on your forearm, huh?
Yeah.
that
So
rotates like that.
yeah, and you got to remember, no gun is no gun. Because you're going to be putting this on a shotgun or a bolt gun. No gun is perfectly square, so that will allow you to contact.
Oh, because the tapered forend.
Right. Yep. And then we're also tapered that way as well.
All right,
Or
that's
not,
pretty
but
ingenious, huh?
so
Right
we're
on.
always, we're always at the tripod company. We're always trying to kind of come up with new ideas, try to bring stuff new to the market, and then. But we've been very blessed with that. Everyone's been very supportive of it. I guess this March will be 1 year that we've been in, and we've sold over 1,000 tripods.
Nice.
Something I would have never thought imaginable. But I think the fact that the tripod was made by actual coyote hunters, people they're out actually doing this, and putting our insight into these leveling heads and these tripod legs. I think that's what's helped us be successful, and then of course the customer service to go along with it. We've been very fortunate. We've had very few returns on these tripods for stuff breaking. As a matter of fact, one of the ones that broke, it was a user error, and we shipped them on a new tripod. It's as simple as that. So we take care of our customer on those, and I think that's what's helped us become successful.
Right. Yeah, I'm really loving that 2-section commander I got, because I've always had the 3-section. You're sitting there going like this, like that, and you got to do that times 3.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
And
Yes. You have 6 connections on a 3-section.
on a 3-section. I mean, 3 sections have their. You guys sell a 3-section, right?
We do, and I tell you what, there is time that a 3-section is a good tripod.
Right.
We made our commander tripod, so that knuckle on it is pretty high up. So we made that so it was comfortable for you to reach in and adjust it. But that made it so you can't really shoot from the seated position with the commander. So if you're a person that likes to sit from the seated position, then that warrior is going to be a little bit better choice for you.
One thing we got to talk, and one thing that convinced me, and I made a video on it, is your chief leveling head, because I used to hunt with the Vortex Radian.
Sure.
And man, I hated that leveling head. Why? Because as I was panning from left to right is actually righty tighty.
Right.
I'd pan enough times to where I come back to left and my freaking rifle's locked.
Oh,
because it tightened down.
Whenever we made the leveling head, the chief leveling head, that was one of the biggest things. So my buddy Brett Campbell, he was actually the one that designed that system, and it's simple, but it fixes the problem. We put a thrust bearing in the handle, and whenever you put tension on it, it's putting tension on that thrust bearing. So when you pan left or right, eventually it's going to loosen up, but I promise you, it's never going to tighten. I mean, it's no way for it to tighten unless that thrust bearing's damaged. But the leveling head, I think for a stable shooting platform, and we have videos on YouTube of us shooting 1,000 yards with that on a 14-inch piece of steel. Even Phil, who works in the shop in here, it took a little action on that too, and it's amazing what you can do with a good quality tripod.
Absolutely. All right, Mark, sounds pretty good. I think we dove into the world of thermal hunting and warrior tripod. You got anything else to add?
Nito, I just wanted to thank you for bringing us on here. It means a lot to us. We put a lot of hard work and time into this business, the tripod business, and the thermalhunting.com business. And we appreciate you, picking us to hop on your podcast with us, and look up to you and appreciate you, man.
Awesome. So, folks, I'll put all the relevant links in the video description below. Thermalhunting.com. Made easy. It's funny. You type in thermal hunting on Google, boom, you guys are the first hit.
Yeah.
That's why I said, how did you know to pick that? And you got lucky and found it, and I'll put warrior tripods in there as well. You got Facebook, you guys on Instagram?
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram. How about X?
No.
You need to get on X now that Elon's got it. It's relative now. Yeah. Huh?
We'll have to check that one out. We actually just hired a new girl to help us out with marketing. She I was hoping she was gonna be here, but she had to step aside. But so our marketing is going to be on the uptick. So be watching out if you're be following us on Facebook, because they've been doing giveaways and hat giveaways and all sorts of stuff lately.
Awesome. All right, Mark. Well, listen, brother. Good hunting, man. Kill them coyotes and hogs. So this Nita with the AP 2020 Outdoors podcast. Remember, support that Second Amendment. Stay safe, stay based. We'll see you later.